Welcome in, folks, to the first official preview episode for the FCS football podcast. We finally have FCS football here for week 0. What are you making those glances for? You good over there, Skippy?
We've been previewing football for 2 years now for a regular season.
You know what I've been doing. You know what I've been doing. You know what I meant. You know what I was saying.
I'm gonna go behind the curtain. We are so excited that there's going to be like an actual season with structure because it's been exhausting. It's been just a drudge through. I mean, imagine you're like in quicksand, right, Joe? And then every now and then you get like little branches that fall down. That'll, Austin Peay, Central Arkansas. Here we go. Branch up, branch up, branch up. Snap. Back down, back down. Here we go. Oh, championship game. Oh, yeah, here we go, Sam Houston State. Oh, we're getting so close. Snap, off season. Now we are finally kind of back to where we need to be when it comes to FCS football. And I got to break out of this funk, man. You got to get me out of it. We got to get juiced up for this FCS football season. I know the fans are excited. I just get us back on track.
Yeah, you're
get me out of this funk.
Your perplexed look completely threw me off.
All we've been doing is previewing.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's
been like a straight year of leading up to something, but we're not really sure what. And I guess you can count the spring season as
it's like punch drunk.
Right. No, but here we are. We actually are going to be having what we think is going to be a normal FCS football season. We've got week 0 coming up. We've got 3 games that we're just going to provide some quick hits on because they're relatively insignificant in the grand scheme of the season because some of these teams are on the weaker or smaller side. But nonetheless, it is FCS football, so we will be talking about them. I am Joe DeLeon, joined by Sean Anderson. We are 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island, the only active FCS podcast out there that covers the full landscape from 2 recently graduated football players and your go-to source for FCS football content. Sean, do you want to know what's not a go-to source for FCS football content?
What's that, Joe?
The NCAA FCS Twitter, which has been a buzz lately. And I want to talk about that after we do the read. But as I think every FCS fan, is greatly annoyed by the social team at the NCAA for mishandling this. And I think some people are going to know what I'm getting at. But before we get to it, can you just share a quick message from our sponsors?
I do. And, it looks like there's someone at the door. Come in. Oh, hey, most annoying guy ever. Hey. Hey, did you see, Shohei Ohtani's, man? He's really playing well.
Did you put a futures bet on him? You should have.
No, I didn't, but it's okay.
Why didn't you do that? You should have put a futures bet on him.
Well, no, I was just watching the game. Well, you know what, Mr. Annoying Man? I'm done with you. Because I'm going to betonline.ag and I'm placing my bets. I'm making prop bets. I'm making live bets, whatever I want to make. Because you don't make bets. You just tell people what they should have done. That's why you are incredibly annoying, and that's why I can't deal with you in my life anymore. So goodbye. Joe, you want to escort him out, please?
No, you can handle it.
No, I wanted to see if you were going to do any sound effects there.
No.
No, but I think that this man needs to leave because all he does is talk about bets you should have taken. And if you're a bettor, like I am, it's the most annoying thing in the world. So I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to deal with him. You shouldn't have to deal with him either. Just go to betonline.ag. Use the website today or your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next big game, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Joe, I actually had a conversation about Shohei Ohtani, and someone said, you should have taken his over at 40 home runs this year. I actually had that conversation in real life.
It sounded close to home. Is it somebody I know that said that to you?
No, it's somebody that I wanted to throttle.
God.
It's
infuriating. No, they're the worst.
It's infuriating because, one, you could just put down bets. And I know the read's not supposed to be this long. It's not really a read, but I'm kind of too deep into this now. You could put bets down, but people who don't put bets down, it's annoying when people say, "Oh, I put this bet down, you didn't put it down." That's a little bit annoying. But people who don't put bets down, the cowards, the Monday morning quarterbacks, the backseat drivers, the most annoying people in the world.
And speaking of most annoying people,
here we
Sean,
go.
thank you for that fantastic read.
Thank you.
I've had 2 great transitions into talking about this. At NCAA_FCS, which is the flagship account for the NCAA that is supposed to provide us with coverage on FCS football. Now, it has notoriously been poorly run. It has notoriously retweeted and quote tweeted and also tweeted out stuff about schools that are not FCS schools because the bozo social media intern that they hired or whoever runs it mishandles it. And there has been some, and Sean, I encourage you to look through on Twitter, just search at NCAA FCS if you're just to get some more context.
Right on it.
They have not tweeted since 7/13, so July 13th. That's part of the issue. A lot of people are annoyed that we no lead up to the season. We've got football this week. Haven't heard a damn thing from this social media account. Absent. Completely absent. And then on top of that, you've got a lot of people saying like, hey, why don't we bring somebody on to run this account that actually cares about the FCS and not some slappy who just graduated from college that needs a job working in social media that doesn't know anything about any of the schools.
Well, those people would actually tweet, whether it's bad, good or bad. That's very concerning that it's been over a month and not one tweet.
I don't know how you don't at the beginning of the week. I'm probably missing some of the details from the outrage that we have here. But the basic gist here is that we're not getting any buzz from the fact that we have FCS games 3 this weekend.
Yeah.
None. This is supposed to be the verified go-to source for information. And it's the only Division I part of football that the NCAA actually has some damn control over because they're the ones who put together and manage the national championship for the FCS. It's not like with FBS where it is the college football playoff and they can't wrangle their own guys because you got the SEC doing whatever the hell they want. You got you've got the ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12 trying to do their own damn thing. That's a whole separate mess. But what the hell are we doing here? How has there been nothing? Nothing. You can't hire one person to pay them $40,000 a year to run this account?
College football team accounts have gotten so good and so creative with the content that they're putting out. They are getting videos of their teams and players, whatever it is. We're seeing it all the time, right, Joe? More content than we've ever had for college football. Why wouldn't you retweet a team? Why wouldn't you just retweet? Just retweet teams' videos. Do whatever. Make a graphic. One graphic. Hey, who's ready for week 0? I think 61,000 people could possibly be ready for that. Why haven't you said anything? And thanks for pointing this out because, again, I didn't know. And why didn't I know? Oh, maybe because they haven't tweeted anything.
Yeah. People are only realizing this because they're pointing it out. You almost don't even think about it because there's been nothing that has come from the account. So that's what's bugging the crap out of me is that the FCS has the most passion out of any sports group out there for college sports. And what I specifically mean by that is that you don't have FBS football fans saying, man, I love FBS football. No, I love Notre Dame, I love Michigan, I love USC, I love Alabama, I love LSU. It's very centric to the team that they support and the conference. And there's a reason why conferences are currently dominating the market for college football. But instead, for FCS, it is one of the few levels of football where you talk to a fan from JMU, you talk to a fan from South Dakota State, you talk to a fan from Idaho, and there's a collective pride in supporting FCS football. They want to see it succeed. But the goddamn people who run the freaking level of football don't take the freaking time to hire an intern to run the damn account.
It would just be retweeting. Put out a poll. Who's excited? 3 tweets right there, right, Joe? 3 tweets.
3.
The programs and conferences are providing you with limitless amount of content. You couldn't have more content from them. It's just retweeting. You don't even have to quote tweet. You don't have to publish your articles. Just retweet what the teams tweet or what the conferences tweet.
Apparently, that's too hard.
Stupid.
Coverage for the FCS has been mishandled and bungled since the pandemic. They had the opportunity to put some of these schools on the map during the spring season, but instead of getting more of these games on ESPN, they were all over the place. They were scattered. Damn social media account can't do their damn job. Just sick of it. It sucks. We have to have independent entities to be the go-to source for content, like us, like Hero Sports, like the Analyst. But NCAA, you guys know how to handle business properly without exploiting people and messing things up totally.
Privatize it. Or just we need the individual power, whatever. We need the voice. Every other podcast needs to be talking about this. Because
we should crowdfund and buy the FCS.
I don't mind that. I'd get a share.
Do you think that's possible? Do you think that's a thing that we could do?
It would be a mess. Who would we elect? Ooh, Craig Haley would be the ruler?
Yes.
Oh.
Or the FCS Fan Nation radio guys. I'd let them run the FCS.
Could we get Dion on the blower?
I would let Donnie Smith run the FCS, and it would go. It would be the perfect direction for FCS football.
How many 4th of July tweets will we have? He might actually schedule a game for 4th of July.
Yeah. Actually, wait. I want to go back to the social media account thing. I want Donnie running the social media account. So Donnie was our quality control coach at the University of Rhode Island, who has one of the best personalities out of any coach I think we'd ever meet. And he tweets. He makes his own memes and his own graphics, which is fantastic. I think if he's capable of doing that, we should let him run the account.
I mean, would Garrow leave Oregon for FCS?
No, they're not going to pay him enough. That man is high priced.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's expensive now.
Text me the details.
I'll text you the details.
I got it right now. I want to see it live. Just shoot me over.
I don't know how much I don't know how much he makes, but I know it would take. He's gotten some massive offers to even just leave where he's at right now, and he's chosen not to.
Send me a couple of the offers.
Okay.
I won't say any numbers, but just Actually,
I'll send it after I lead into this next segment.
Okay.
So I want to get to we've spent 13 minutes yelling about this god awful shitty ass. You're welcome for the curse. Social media account. But I want to spend some time actually providing the coverage that we're supposed to be doing to the 3 games that are playing in week 0. The 3 games I'm referencing: Eastern Illinois at Indiana State, Alcorn State at NC Central, and then Southern Utah at San Jose State. So we're just going to provide some quick tidbits. We just want to highlight some things that you need to be aware of. This first game, Eastern Illinois at Indiana State, 6 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN Plus. Make sure you're logged in and subscribed to ESPN Plus. What?
Sorry.
What did you say?
You said make sure you're logged in. So I said logged like you did.
I strongly dislike you. And the day that we record in the same studio again, when you do something like that, I'm throwing things at you. Just know it. You better wear a helmet when we record. Be logged in. Be logged into your ESPN Plus account for one of the first games, the first FCS game of the season. Saturday, July 28th is the game. So this game is pretty interesting because Eastern Illinois has previously been a powerhouse program. We know that most recently their best year was when they produced Jimmy Garoppolo, Walter Payton Award winner. And since then, they've been a bit downhill. Last year, they had 1 win when they played. And they're returning a relatively spunky group offensively. They were in a lot of close games. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. One of the guys that is on the radar, I think, of most people in this conference is Jalen Benefield, who on the smaller side is their starting running back. Average 4.4 yards per carry, is probably going to take a good load and is expected to take a good load of carries. But the bigger question mark for Eastern Illinois is who's under center. During the spring, it was Otto Kuhns, and then we also have a Duke transfer, Chris Katrick, and then a Colorado transfer, Grant Cicerone. So we're uncertainty on who's the starting quarterback, unless I missed that they announced who the starter is going to be.
I'm going to go with Cicerone as the pronunciation.
Cicerone. This is why we do pronunciation
Fake Italian.
Before the
show. Joe, you should know that. Look, when I see Eastern Illinois, I see possible. Rhode Island brought in some FBS transfer quarterbacks this year, and we've done it before. Pardon for saying we, but teams have done this before. It's rarely a bad thing. It's rarely a bad thing to have somebody who has been through that ringer go through the FCS ringer, and you can hit the refresh button a little bit. They're not always going to start. They're not always going to win jobs. And a lot of times FCS guys that transfer up to the FBS end up winning jobs. Sometimes when it's the reverse, it doesn't happen. But you have a little refresh button and you get a little more energy. It's just because of the stigma, because FBS quarterbacks go to the NFL. That's how it is. No one's going to sugarcoat that. But when they come to your team, Joe, I mean, remember junior year? The team was pretty lively, pretty refreshed, pretty ready. Or was that sophomore year when Juwan and Tyler came?
That was our sophomore year when there was a lot of hype for Tyler, who had an offer from Ole Miss to transfer from UCF and decided to come play for us. And then Juwan Lawson, who none of us really knew a thing about, just kind of showed up on the first day. And we're like, who's he? I thought we were hyped about the other dude. Who's this other transfer quarterback? Juwan ends up being the better one of the two. But he was coming from New Mexico. New Mexico. No, it was University of New Mexico. New Mexico State is the garbage one. That's the Aggies. But you're right. There was a ton of buzz when you were bringing these transfer guys because there's competition. There's a battle going on between some guys with some talented arms.
It just, I mean, teams that are down, and we were in Eastern Illinois' position, were we not? We've seen this. 1-5, bad years, and then you're just kind of not limping along, but you're like, we need something. We need something. In college, you need a quarterback. So why don't you go out and you do your best to recruit some of the guys that have experience, that have gone and practiced against high standard FBS players their entire college career. Come on to FCS. Let's go. Let's roll it. Let's see what we can do. Eastern Illinois, I think, definitely has that potential to have somewhat of a junior, 2018 URI type year where you just have a little bit of clearance and you're just ready to go and play football because you're a little more confident with a good quarterback also.
Yeah, I've done a bit of a sweep for that starting quarterback, and I don't see anything that really tells us who's going to be that starting quarterback. And it sounds like Kuhns is supposed to be, because he's the incumbent, he's supposed to be the guy that's going to be taking over. But we're not really given anything. Like the most notable thing that pops up from 1 hour ago, the most notable headline, and it's funny because you mentioned Southern Illinois earlier. When I search Eastern Illinois starting quarterback, I get Nick Baker named starting quarterback at Southern Illinois.
Oh,
so
clearly
Google
I get it all twisted up.
No, you didn't. My point is that, see, I didn't mean to scare you there. My point is that Google doesn't even freaking know, and it's mixing up, it's crossing its wires because they can't find the information. They're pulling other schools as the starting quarterback. So we're not really 100% sure. There's some names that were thrown out there, but there is that competition trying to beat out the incumbent with these transfer guys. It's just natural to say that when you have a transfer from a Pac-12 and an ACC school, the arm talent is just different than what you recruit as an FCS recruit. Unless you're getting a guy like Trey Lance who had those FBS offers, those transfers usually have some sort of success, and it's a lot easier for them to beat out an incumbent that was just recruited. It's typically what we see.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun matchup. And then Indiana State, they are going to be playing their first game since 2019. And just like Alcorn State and NC Central, we'll get to next, I guess I'll burn this on them also. We're going to see not scrimmage ball for the first time from Indiana State this year. And that's going to be just great because I can't tell you how dreaded scrimmages are. I can't tell you how sick you get just going up against the same guy over and over and over again, because it's like you're either going to end up hating each other, especially in the trenches. You're either going to be like, I hate you. I just want to beat you. I want to win the rep. We got to get this over with and done because you're just ruining my day looking at you every single time for the last year and a half. And then, or you start liking the guy. And then you're like, at least with offensive and defensive linemen, and maybe with, those position groups that are often paired against each other, corners and DBs and wide receivers and tight ends, all that, running backs and linebackers, you're just kind of neutral with each other. Off the field, you're like, all right, I either like you, don't, whatever. On the field, you just have to stay pretty neutral because it's pretty aggressive when you're going against somebody for the 1,000th time. You try to stay even keeled. And then, but if you start liking the guy, or, it's just like, how are we going to do this rep, man? We're both miserable because we've only practiced for 2 years. Indiana State is going to be frothing from the mouth. Alcorn State and NC Central are going to be so ready to just go out there and hit somebody else because you're just hitting the same person over and over and over again. You want to take it because they're your teammates also. You want to get a good competition going with the team, but you want to let everything else out on other teams. You don't know these guys. You don't care about them. Why should you? Go out and play another team. That's when you're supposed to let everything out. That's when you're supposed to be going all hard. Well, you got to go hard in practice. And it's just, I'm so thrilled to see some of these teams that haven't played, that opted out of every year since the COVID stuff started, to go out there and finally get the opportunity to go play another team. It's going to be so much fun.
It's tough to really gauge what a team like Indiana State is going to be able to do because they just straight up haven't played. We don't know what those guys are like. You could have a guy show up that was like 160 pounds that ends up being 200 because of how much time he's had to add weight and get ready to go. Right. Yeah. It's kind of like the bit where we were talking about last week where we don't freaking know what graduation year these guys are. Some of these guys are sophomores, but they've been there for 5 years. We just don't know. It's strange. But one thing we do know is that Dante Hendricks, starting receiver for the Sycamores, is uber talented. He's going to be the name that I think watching this one, and it's noted that he led the team in receiving last time they played with 653 yards, which is a pretty good sophomore season for Hendricks. So we kind of see that where when you're a sophomore, you put up 600, that usually sets you up for an 800 to 900 yard season if you continue to build on that. And he's had so much time to prepare where I'm excited to see what Hendricks does because he's really, really the best player on that lineup for Indiana State.
It's going to be a fun game. It's just going to be because it's the first game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of penalties. A ton of penalties.
Yes. Oh, tons of penalties. Or maybe none.
Oh yeah, we'll keep on getting through and we'll give the overall. It's going to be special teams is going to win this game and penalties is going to win this game. That's how you're going to win or lose this game. And that's for all the teams' first 2 weeks.
I would argue there's going to be less penalties because
I'm talking unnecessary roughness.
Oh, I was going to say it's been 2 years of being sent to do sprints for false starts and holding calls. And
can you imagine? Just what were we doing? We were doing the 20-yard sprints one day, or was it? How many did we do? 30, because so many false starts.
I don't even remember. Maybe
they're 40-yarders. I don't know. You don't remember that day we were in Mackle for 30 minutes after because we could not.
Oh, I do remember that.
Jump. Vito tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine there not being a payoff later on in the week or season for a year and a half? And you just kept doing that.
All right, John, let's get to this next game before we get too heated up. Alcorn State at NC Central is the second game. This one is expected to kick off on ESPN, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So this one's in the primetime, baby. You don't need ESPN Plus to watch this one. I'm just going to be straight up. We don't need to beat around the bush. The guy that you need to know about this in this game is Felix Harper. The dude is a superstar. He's had all this time to prepare and get back and ready to play. I Bleav you noted here in our notes that this is their first game since 2019. I'm excited to see Felix Harper. That guy's a playmaker. He is electric. And I can just straight up say here, I don't think this is a hot take. I don't think anyone's going to pop in here and disagree with me. He is going to be too much for NC Central to handle. And if they win this football game, which they probably will, it's going to be because of Felix Felix Harper and how talented he is.
Yeah, he's a stud. And I mean, he's fun to watch tape on because he just makes great plays. I'm watching him right now. Yeah, lefty rolling out to his right, gets clobbered, throws a touchdown. You could watch it and just narrate every single play here. Yeah, great screen. All of this, just great. It's what he does. He plays great football. He commands the offense. He's not a game manager. He's a game commander. Whatever he wants to do with the ball, he can do with the ball. And he's just going to keep on rolling. And he's going to keep on scoring points. He's going to gain a ton of yards. He's going to throw a bunch of. I think 2019 he threw for like 3,300 and then 39 touchdowns. He's going to move the ball on you. NC State, NC Central, going to have issues with him. And this is the guy you should be watching out for the entire game. And you're going to be able to tell this is the best player on the field. Felix Harper, best player on the field. Here we go. Yeah. Drop back. Yeah, right up the middle. Dot. That's right.
And despite being one of the more undersized quarterbacks, like that's one thing that's always confused me about Felix Harper. Like you look at the size. Don't watch his tape. Don't look at him. Don't even see what he looks like in a picture. 5'11", 180. You're like, oh, that's too small for a quarterback. He's not going to be able to play very well at that size. But you look how he's built. He's built with a very good frame. This dude's an athlete. He is impossible to keep up with. The last time he played, which was 2019, which you referenced, throws for 2,954 yards, 33 freaking touchdowns.
I had it backwards.
And then he also rushes for 169 yards. But the more notable, 6 touchdowns there. So almost 40 total touchdowns the last time he suited up. If he has and he replicates something at least close to that, he's going to be in contention for the Walter Payton, and this is going to be the starting route for him to produce a really, really good comeback season.
I'd like to know how many tackles broken he gets in this game because I think that's probably or sacks avoided. I think that's the strongest part of his game because he's very mobile, but he's not a mobile quarterback. He's a pocket passer. He's going to roll out. His running is not his first option. Running is not his second option. It's probably his third or last escape option unless it's designed. He is a pocket passer, and he can throw the – watch his tape. He throws the ball higher than anybody I've ever seen on deep balls. He throws it as high in the air as he does deep. I don't know why. It works. Good for him. He's going to be the guy you watch this game.
All right, last game. I don't think we need to go too crazy in that one because this is going to be the Felix Harper show. I want to see how he performs, and I think that we'll be recapping.
Let's just rename the show that.
The Felix Harper show.
Yeah. I'm Joe DeLeon, and this is Sean Anderson, and this is the Felix Harper show. No Felix Harper, but this is the Felix Harper show. This week he had a chicken parm for lunch, and then dessert. He went light. He just had he had some oatmeal for dessert with some berries. He's in season. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to track whatever he does.
That was basically the fall when we literally had nothing to talk about, and it was the Bailey Zappi show every single week. It was just talking about what Bailey Zappi did. And then we got him on the show
and he was good.
For S&Gs, for shits and giggles. He came on. It was a great conversation. I want this to be renamed the Bailey Zappi Show, presented by Bailey Zappi.
Could it be the Felix Harper Show presented by Bailey Zappi?
Could you imagine the confusion? I'm going to send an email. I'm going to send an email to the Bleav, the other producers and Braun and everything, because whenever a show changes their name, there's like an order of operations, and I get a lot of emails from Cam because he gets upset when when he notices that we haven't changed the cover art or no one's told him that a show changed its name. So I won't include Cam on the email, but I'm going to tell him, hey, we're changing the FCS show to the Felix Harper Show presented by Bailey Zappi. And I'm going to get an email back. I'm like, cool, sounds good.
It's moronic. We got a game to talk about, Joe.
Yeah, this last one's going to have the least amount of analysis on it. Southern Utah at San Jose State. 10 p.m. Eastern Time. This is CBS Sports Network. I'm surprised you didn't call me out for how I just tried to pronounce the word time.
Allowed some time.
Why does anybody let football players do any type of content?
It's stupid. You know what I realized? I've had it pointed out to me multiple times over the last month that I just don't finish my words. Maybe it's because I speak pretty quickly, but there's words that just drop off and get combined, and it's awful, awful broadcasting. Phil Nance, never done it once. Never done it once. You never heard him say, "Hey, hello, friends." No, it's "Hello, friends."
Do you mean Jim Nance?
What did I say? Phil
Jim
Nance?
Yeah.
So I combined
Jim
Phil Nance, Jim Nance, and
Phil Sims and Jim Nance.
Oh, I'm a sleepy boy.
Yeah, you need to go take a nap. Let's wrap up this show. 10 p.m. Eastern Time, CBS Sports Network. The reason why I say that there's not really a lot of analysis that goes into this one, this is the first bye game of the season. We're not even going to predict the score for this one just because I prefer not to do the FCS, FBS bye games for when we do FC estimates. That's pretty much how we did it previously when we had a normal season. But only guy I'm paying attention to is La'akea Kahano Davis. I think that was close. I don't know. I need to check and determine if that was or not.
You did your best.
I'm gonna DM him and ask him how to properly pronounce it. That's the only guy I'm watching for because that guy's a draft prospect. He's going to be one of the notable names all season as one of the best defensive players in the country. Former defensive back, converted to linebacker, great athlete, best player on this team. But you got to remember, San Jose State was a really underrated program last year, was the best team in their conference last year. Nick Starkel is coming back for what's supposed to be a final season. He's a draft prospect. Jack Snyder on the offensive line, he's a draft prospect. San Jose State is geared up to smack some dudes this year, and sadly, Southern Utah is going to be, I don't like to disparage the FCS, but they are going to be a road bump in this one.
Yeah, we hope that Southern Utah can put up a good fight, and I was waiting for the plug because you said draft prospect twice. I was waiting for the plug. You didn't do it.
Jack Snyder was on the FCS or the NFL Draft Prospects podcast.
There we go.
We did an interview with him. You're welcome.
There we go. There's the plug. FCS, FBS. If the FCS upsets or makes it tight, we'll definitely talk about it next week. That's how we do it. And for any of the new listeners, we don't really cover these games very, very much unless it's, some of the powerhouses in the FBS really playing FCS playing an FBS team. Then we'll kind of dive in a little bit. But they're not going to be really involved in FC estimates unless there's an upset or it's a very tight game, because then they'll be in the water cooler segment.
Sometimes I just forgot that I'm going to be on camera for this, and I just did a bunch of strange physical movements to loosen up my back. You're welcome to the
we don't have
viewing
to post
audience.
This video. We don't.
No, I'm going to. We need the extra view. I want the extra viewership. We've actually got some pretty good views on the YouTube channel, so I'm not gonna complain. A few hundred on some of the videos. So, no, but San Jose State Trojans, really good program. Sadly, Southern Utah, they're gonna get popped. We've been in those situations. We've gotten popped before. Sadly, yes, plenty of times. All right, Sean, let's kick things off here on FC estimates. We're back. We're here to compete. Wait, did you remind me again? Did you win during the spring? But I won.
Oh yeah, I won during the
fall?
spring. Yeah.
Okay, so
Big winner.
I'm still up 2-1 because I won.
Fat effing winner, Sean Anderson.
I won last season.
Dominated DeLeon in the spring.
won.
Sorry, continue.
I won in the fall, and then you won in the spring.
Yeah, the spring was more important though because there were more games played. So big ol' winner.
Okay.
Big winner.
All right.
Joe lost. I won.
So you need to have a good start to this year. You need to have a good start to this year, starting off with week 0. And we've got 2 games that we're going to be picking that we've already pretty much talked about. Sean, let's kick off. Eastern Illinois at Indiana State. Who are you picking?
I am taking Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, that one should be a no-brainer. Eastern Illinois. And this other one, God damn it. Alcorn State at NC Central. Who'd you pick?
Alcorn State. Why? What was all of that noise?
Alcorn State. No, I realized that these are easy pick games, and we both picked the same team, so we're either going to be tied. Actually, we're just
big old winner. That's what I'm going to be.
It's gonna be 0-0 after this week, regardless of what happens.
Well, it's week 0, so that's how it works. We can just
everything's divided by 0, so it's just a 0. Sean, you got anything for us before I wrap us up?
From the winner, myself personally, as the former winner of FC Estimates in the spring, I do not. My Twitter is Sanderson Radio. Thanks to the Reddit FCS guys. They put out a good tweet with all the FCS podcasts. So aside from us,
Kings.
if you're listening to us and you're like, oh, I want some more content, check out Reddit FCS on Twitter. They posted a graphic with all the national podcasts that cover the FCS nationally like we do. But they also, in the thread below it, if you're looking for specific conference podcasts, they have a big old thread of those also. And so go check them out. They've been good to us, so we would like to be good to them as well. Reddit FCS, they've been killing it.
Yeah, they were one of the people who that one show were like, DM us and tell us what you had for dinner. They were one of the. I don't think they told us what they had for dinner, but they did DM us,
yes.
Which I thought was pleasant.
They
were
were
nice to talk to.
Something. It was awful DMs.
I don't know if that was them.
The DMs that we had with them was very confusing. Do you remember that? Let me see.
I don't remember that. Don't be mean. Why was it awful?
They do great work. They're fantastic. But they sent jambalaya. They sent a string of just very confusing DMs for me and Joe.
Good. As confusing as possible. Just keep DMing us confusing things. We appreciate it.
The Louisiana, southeastern Louisiana did their thing.
Yeah,
that's
what it was. All right. Hit the follow button at Joe DeLeon at Sanderson Radio. Also hit the subscribe button on wherever you're listening to on the podcast. 5-star review would be appreciated. Also, if you can, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, which is the NFL Prospects Pod YouTube channel. We're on that feed because that is my channel. But that's it from us. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy some FCS football.